The storm passed, the sky is clearing, and you're standing in your driveway listening. No sirens, no wind, just silence, and the low, unmistakable hum of your neighbor's generator keeping their fridge cold while your house sits in the dark. You pull out your phone and check the utility map. Crews are out, repairs are happening, and power is being restored all across the region, but not for you. Hour after hour, nothing. Eventually, someone says it out loud. Why is our neighborhood still without power? You start to wonder if something went wrong, if maybe a wire's down, if maybe your buried system isn't working after all. But here's the truth no one ever tells you. It's not that something broke in your neighborhood, it's that you weren't a priority. And not because the utility company doesn't care, but because they follow a system, a triage, a cold, calculated sequence that determines who gets the power first and who waits. Hospitals and first responders first, then wastewater facilities, traffic systems, communication hubs, critical infrastructure. After that, it moves to population density, places where restoring a single substation brings thousands of customers online. And then finally, way down the list, they get to scattered residential pockets with no critical needs and no major line damage. That's when your street gets attention, not before. We saw it after Hurricane Helene. Neighborhoods that never lost a single transformer still waited 4, 5, even 6 days because the lines feeding them were tied to smaller circuits or less populated zones. And if you're in a newer community with underground lines, you're often routed through fewer shared paths, which means fewer people benefit when your section is fixed. Fewer people equals lower priority. It feels unfair, but it's math, and it's how the system's always worked. You might be wondering, shouldn't being newer mean we're higher on the list? It's a fair question, but the grid doesn't play favorites based on curb appeal. In fact, newer developments often rely on older upstream infrastructure, meaning that clean, quiet subdivision still pulls from substations built 30 years ago. If that gear goes down, it doesn't matter how new your house is. And in many cases, the equipment that feeds your underground system is above ground somewhere. All it takes is one snapped pole, one blown transformer, or one flooded vault to knock the entire zone offline. Meanwhile, utility crews are stretched thin, roads are blocked, fuel is rationed, and every repair takes time. That's when reality sets in. You don't control the timeline. You can call, you can refresh the outage map, but it won't make them get to you faster. That's why more homeowners, especially in new developments, are choosing to take that timeline into their own hands. A properly installed standby generator doesn't care where you are on the restoration list. It doesn't need a crew to show up. It doesn't wait for permission. It just runs automatically, quietly, safely until the grid gets its act together. And it gives you something the power company can't guarantee: certainty. Because when the next storm hits, and it will, there's only one thing worse than being without power. It's being without power and feeling like you had no backup plan. You might live in the best built home on the block. Your roof might hold, your windows might seal, your wiring might be pristine. But if your power depends on a call center and a 72-hour estimate, you're not prepared. You're hopeful. Hope is not a strategy. And when the storm clears and you're still in the dark, watching your neighbor brew coffee and charge their phone from across the street, you'll realize it's not about how new your house is, it's about how independent you are from the grid. And that's a choice you get to make before the storm shows up. Stay sharp, stay hands-on, and we'll keep you powered no matter what. I'll see you in the next one.